Thank you very much. I guess beyond the public, Amr, one of those important stakeholder groups is the investor. I think in your role in Kadiba, you obviously interface a lot with that external investor. And I think just given what's happening in the region, there's a lot of PPP efforts, there's a lot of FDI efforts. So Kuwait, in a sense, is also competing in the international context. When we think about PPP structures, one of the crux of the problem is getting that risk allocation right between the private and public sector. It would be great to get your thoughts on, again, some of the efforts that have happened in Kuwait, where you see that risk allocation working well, but also maybe looking around the region as well in terms of sort of what types of deals have looked better than others in terms of where that risk gets shared or not.
Risk allocation, it's a fireball that each authority or each investor is throwing to each other. All the time, it's your responsibility, it's your risk, you have to allocate this one. So in my view, risk, to balance the risk allocation, it's about perception. It's about partnership. So public and private sector should think like a calculated machine has its cog and its part. Each one know which is role and which is capacity for doing so. That's why most of the time we see a matrix for risk allocation, but not fit most of the projects. Or otherwise it will be not balanced. It should be all the time on the states and the government said that, okay, you are the strategic investor, you should take the role, you should take all the risk about that. At the same time, the investor looking for that, wondering why you should take risk of that. Since you are the government, you should take risk about at least for the legislation, the macroeconomic things. They facilitate my role, make my life easier. Why should I take such responsibilities or such risk? But in the same times, investors didn't see that from the public sector have a public interest need to be safeguarded. This is a very important thing. Most of the time, the public sectors seen this putting in his mind, this is a public interest, I need to be safeguarded. There is an audit bureau, there is another stakeholders may be engaged in that, and I have to protect that as much as they can. So if the investors rely on that and find the balance between both of them, then we will achieve a good equation actually. So if the investors should take the responsibility for constructions and operation, and you at the government, and you take the other risk for legislations, facilitation, make my life easier. Yes, we are here in Kuwait in a constitutional country, so it's very important for the advisors and the people, the players working in this market or in this industry, know exactly how to navigate all these or satisfy or fulfill all these criteria. And this will happen once we have all together and make it clear, and the investor understood the concept of the public interest, and at the same time the other side of the public authorities understood that the investor looking for returns. He doing that for get the returns. He want to get profit for that. By reaching a balance point for that, we could achieve and a good achievement in this way.
Just staying on that point, so it's absolutely right, you need to get that balance correct, and I guess the public side and the private side are coming from two different perspectives. From your, I guess, role, but also the interactions you have with both the public sector and investors, what is it that could be done to get that balance there, and what have you seen in either deals in Kuwait or elsewhere that sort of has been done to strive that balance?
Actually, I want to establish a Kuwait PP Innovation Hub to to act as an incubator for such projects, initiatives of the PPs, to be a data center for the project, could collect all information about the local, international lessons to be learned, having training and development for all the stakeholders, especially, I'm speaking the front line of all the public stakeholders, need to be aware about such industry. PP's industry need unique skills. You have to be open-minded. You have to be more flexible. You have to deal and address all obstacles with such open-minded. We can, this hub, I think if we could have it as like a think tank, like this think tank between all the stakeholders, collect all of them in one room, thinking what happened to put all reforms required for that. At the same time, also we can think about the policies and reforms of that. So, in my opinion, I think it's a matter of knowing exactly the nature of such industry, like PP's project is unique. Even the lawyers, the in-house counsel dealing with such projects, they are dealing with them with a traditional approach. Actually, you shouldn't deal with such a project with such traditional approach. And from the government side and for the other consultants need to understand and use the right experts to be in the ground with them, to be familiar themselves about the regulations and the policies, and know exactly how to navigate. It's a matter of about navigating them. You can't avoid them, but in the same times, put in the front line the right people, so can make the life of investor easier.
Thank you. I like the point of people. I often hear PPP referred to as PPPP, which is public-private people partnership, because at the end of the day, it's a matter of people coming together. Just in terms of the outlook then, I mean, a lot to be done, and it's great to hear that there is so much happening on that front. Maybe switching back to yourself, Amir, how do you see the outlook for PPP in Kuwait in terms of where the opportunities lie? What is the option space in terms of the investor mix, but also the underlying initiatives that could happen to improve the overall environment?
I do agree with Kabel that we don't need to invent the wheel, but actually we need to roll the wheels. Everything is there. The laws, regulations, people, officials. What we need is a facilitation, understanding about the concept of the PP industry, what is required. We have to prepare the people where they are standing in the front line that this industry need a unique skills. Please don't contracting investors. PP's investor is your partner. It's partnership. You have to, coming with such mentality, you have to make his life easier, make his project implemented, facilitate deliverables of his project with taking in consideration the public interest to be safeguarded in the same time. This is a challenge, actually. In my expertise, most of the time I have been approached for a lot of investors. Amr, we have faced this in stakeholder 1, 2, 6, what we can do, please facilitate. And we go to them, explain, CAB did the same. And once they are aware about the concept, the industry, what is required, this is not contracting, it is PPPs, then it will happen. And we have, yes, actually we have two projects, only two projects in Kuwait, Hayman, Shamal Zur, but actually they are suffering with the other stakeholders. That's why I will take from Manal, yes, we need. That's why my proposal to establishment Kuwait Innovation Hub, Kuwait PP Innovation Hub is very important. It will facilitate all these issues, and will be remaining the amendment of the laws. It will be just a piece of cake. We can do it, but actually it is not about the laws or regulations, because they already exist. Yes, we do agree that there need to be a little to be amendment, but the people planning and rolling the wheel.
Absolutely, and I think you're right that there has been already examples in Kuwait. It has been done, so it's really about building off the back of that. Maybe just switching back to yourself,
يعني بدها جهات حكومية وبدها مجلس الأمة ينظر إلى المستقبل بنظرة هادئة، بنظرة فتح البلد للاستثمارات الأجنبية والتسهيل على القطاع الخاص عمله، لأن أكرر لا تنمية من غير وجود قطاع خاص فاعل. Thank you.
It's great to hear that there's obviously a very positive view on the medium to long term. If I just maybe with one last point, and I'll ask every one of you, one initiative that would really move the dial in terms of the PPP context. Obviously, it's a very complicated topic, as you rightly said, but maybe I'll start with you, Amr. One big initiative that would move the dial.
As I have mentioned, Kuwait BB Innovation Hub. To be an incubator, to be a knowledge center, to be policy and reformers creator, to be training and development. This will make a qualitative leap in everything.
And maybe Kapil, on yourself from the banking side, one initiative